trust you are all okay. Today is another very bright and a good day. And today we are talking about premarital, marriage, midlife, divorce and separation counseling. So my name is Triza Kaimika. I'm a counseling psychologist and the lead therapist at Allsmiles Therapy Center. And today I'm joined by
Silas Njage, marriage and family therapist with the Allsmiles Therapy Center. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. And today, because we are talking about premarital, Silas, so we can enlighten and educate our people why it is important to go for premarital counseling. This is before you engage into marriage, and also why you should even come before it's a requirement by maybe your religious leaders and all that. Why at inception, when you are having this relationship and you feel this is a relationship that can help to marry, why it is important to take up premarital counseling.
Premarital counseling is very crucial before people even get to the level of the church and other stages, because this is an area where people need to identify the things that maybe they'll confront with, ranging with finances, the culture, and also even to know how well they know each other. Because sometimes people get deep into a relationship and later they came to realize that they don't know each other well, and which brings issues later in their marriage. So premarital counseling is very important, especially at this age in time.
Yeah, and also for people to get, like you say, to define the goals.
Yeah.
The goals of our relationship, that is married, and that's the point where people talk about, in this marriage, I expect maybe I'm getting in as the wife, along the way you will marry other wives, or along the way you're going to marry other husbands. Some of these things, this is when people get to define. They say these are our goals for marriage. Hence, if we want our marriage to be polygamous, this is the time for you to go through that and you get to know, is it comfortable by all the parties? If you want your marriage to be just, a monogamous, monogamous marriage, you get to know, are we set for this and are we ready for this? Even in time, people also decide on the number of kids to have. It's all in preparation for marriage and things that goes on. And also, if people talk about the kids to have and all that, they also talk of what if. What if we are not able to conceive? How are we likely to take it? To take it up and how to go about it. So people get to define their marriage. As much as we say during marriage there is much to be readjusted in between, you also need now to be knowing, at least to have expectation. So now we've talked about premarital counseling. What would you tell couples out there who are already in a relationship and they are planning to head to marriage? What are some of the things that we talk about when they come for therapy? Of course, this is not a therapy session, hence we can't go deeper, but we can highlight some of the things that we share.
Yeah, actually you just highlighted a few, and mine is just to emphasize on them because finances are a big issue in marriage, and so people realize when they are deep in marriage that there are some things that they never addressed on finances. How do we generate the finances? How do we budget? How do we manage? And so there is a need for people to come for therapy, premarital therapy, so they may know how to handle finances, because it has contributed to a lot of conflict in marriage. And so without some knowledge on how to manage finances in the marriage setup, it becomes a problem. And also the things of understanding the background of the family. What family are you getting into? Are you ready to subscribe to their cultures, their food, all the stuff they do? Are you ready, even for their faith? Are you getting into an environment that you don't know? Because all these things, when people identify when they are already in the marriage, it becomes a big issue, and so there is need for people to come into therapy, so to also even understand about themselves, their personality. What is the personality of this person that you are getting into? What is the personality of your partner? How does it behave when maybe things go wrong? Are these the people who just disappear? And so in premarital counseling, you are able to understand, the receiving of a person. And so you're able to know, is this person the real person that I really need to work with the rest of my life? And all these things are brought up in premarital counseling. Because when people now get the ring enters on your finger, it is done. And so some things now, you can't be able to reverse again. Because they say that better a broken relationship than a broken marriage. And most of the things that cause breaking in marriages, they are foundational in nature. And so premarital counseling helps people to unearth and even to bring up these issues. And so people get into marriage now more informed. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yes, people get into marriage when they are more informed. So we call upon whoever is out there and you're already in courtship, seeing this person, you need to go for premarital counseling. And I keep on telling people, you need not to come because it's a requirement by your religious leader, because it means by the time you are coming, you already know the marriage and the wedding preparations, everything is ongoing. Hence you're coming as just to tick the box that yes, you've done this as a requirement. And during such a setup, when you get to realize that actually this is not the person you want to move on with life, it's very much, it's hard to even call off because people are already aware of how everything is going. So the best we would say is come immediately you get to know you're in a relationship, even before you set the wedding date and all that. Just come for premarital counseling, and not only to get to learn about the other person, you also get to learn more about yourself. For some people, that's the point they get to learn that they have some childhood traumas that they need to deal with. Others they get to do that. They get to know that they have maybe loss and grief that they never dealt with well. So we try to capture everything that might be a reason for future breakup, divorce and separation. We discuss all those things, and because you are coming, both of you, so you are able to walk the journey together and to help each other. At times it may be a difference that comes in, and we are trying to see how best you are able to navigate even before you get into marriage institution. Now say last we have, after they've come, at least we know you are somewhere, likely somewhere where you get now into marriage institution. Now we also have other people, our viewers who are watching, and they're already in marriage. Something like premarital counseling was never something was ever introduced to them before marriage, or maybe they've never heard about it, and now they're already in marriage institution. So before we talk about counseling during that point, what are some of the things that people go through as a couple, and also some of the things that bring couples for therapy? Because for some people they think they must be fighting, they must be going through divorce or something for them to come for therapy.
So we have infidelity becoming a big issue in marriages, and as we said, some of these things are foundational. When people come for premarital counseling, some of the things that we try to help them walk through is, there are some people that get into marriage and they are some unfinished businesses. So you get into a marriage and you are in a relationship that maybe it is not ended. When people get into marriage and there was those like loose hands, they become a problem deep into marriage. And so you find, marriages being eaten up by past friendships. They creep in and people now start dealing with issues that they thought they had dealt with now, by getting married. And so premarital counseling helps us now to deal with those issues that people now are getting into marriage, and they are done now with some of the issues, that come in, to bring confusion and to bring issues of infidelity. And so we find that infidelity has many heads, and it is a major thing in marriages. And all these things, when people are able to handle it at premarital stage, they are well prepared. And even before they get now to make to the vows, for those who now go waiting in church, they are able to come to an agreement, and they're able to put measures. We also talk about boundaries. What kind of boundaries are they putting up in their marriage before they begin? Because when there are no good boundaries, then it means that now anybody can walk in that partnership. And when anybody comes, when it is open and anybody can come into that friendship, then things are bound to happen, including now things to be infidelity, and so many other things, including even things that are not budgeted, bringing all sorts of problems in the marriage. And so that's how serious premarital therapy is, especially at this age in time.
Yeah, and Silas has mentioned about infidelity. So just to be clear, couples do not only come out of infidelity because they want to break up.
Mm-hmm.
So at times they come because they want to rebuild the lost trust.
Mm-hmm.
They want to enhance this marriage because we normally talk about it being counseling as a result of discernment. Yeah, so about rebuilding trust, people also come for therapy after maybe violence. Of course, there is what comes with marriage being a violent marriage, but they will still come to enhance and rebuild trust so that they can get back together. People, they come when they want to help manage drugs and substance use, loss and grief, when they have issues, when they have illness, even in the family, when it's a case of maybe disability, they've given birth to a kid who is able differently, when they have issues with their families, many reasons that make people come for therapy. You also need to ask yourself, what are the reasons that make people have a breakup? Because the same reasons that make people have a breakup, they are actually the same reasons that make people come for therapy. So in most cases, as you find that some people, they absolutely do not want to break up. They're in love with each other, but they have some dysfunction that making them not to be aligned, making them feel so resented to the other person. So in such a scenario, when you are presented in such a case, how do we go about enlightening them that if the love is still there, you still have, you are still motivated to go on with this marriage. However, you have issues coming in between.
I think Teresa, for that, actually, one of the greatest things that bring confusion and conflict in marriage is how well couples manage their conflicts. And a couple that is able to manage their conflicts well, they're able to deal with so many issues. And so conflict management is also one of the things that you also do, because now it covers everything. When people are in good communication in a way that they're able to manage their conflict, actually conflict do not end. It's how they are managed, as they emerge, how they are managed. And so therapy helps people to acquire skills on how to manage their conflicts, coming from finances, coming from infidelity, coming from parenting. Because as families continue climbing the family life cycle, challenges keep changing and changing. And so as people change from one transition to another, new challenges come. And so there's always constant need for therapy. As people now get new children, how do we deal now with infants? When now the wife is is feeding the whole night, and the partner is asleep, and there's work. All these things are they are ground for conflict. And so even in marriage, when people come for therapy, it is not too late, because there will always be need for therapy because of the changing time, the transitions, getting adolescents in the family, and then there is all this conflict. How do we deal with them? The teenagers, their dynamics. How do we address now the issue of the things they are watching, and the kind of company they are keeping. All these things, they eat up into the marriage, and so they come now subject for therapy. And so we find that in marriage, whether it is premarital, whether it is in marriage, therapy is always relevant, because they are emerging issues. Issues will always emerge. They will emerge from the in-laws. They'll emerge from the cultural aspects. They'll emerge from the environment, from the neighborhood. Toxicity comes from all corners of the setup, and so there's always need for people to be in communication and to understand now at what point now do we get for therapy, because therapy will always be a thing that is needed in marriages, as long as two people want to live well.
Oh, you mentioned something very important, communication. Communication is a very important key to any marriage or any just institution. And so people also come for therapy because they want to enhance their communication. And in most cases, some they get to know there is a lot of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I said this, it's taken differently. I have very different meaning from how I want it intended. Also, how we communicate. Other times we communicate in a way that we are attacking. And when we attack, the other person gets now into defense. So this helps you to be able now to know how to communicate effectively, not to communicate in a way that you're attacking the other person, because definitely you are putting them in the line to start defending themselves. And defense comes even with lies, with even people telling you things that you will make you even feel more heartbroken because they're saying all these things to defend themselves. But for effective communication comes with very new ideas because you talk about your feelings. You let your partner know how you feel. In most cases, you find that Silas in marriage, people now stop focusing about, on each other and they say focusing about other things. Yeah, and the new focus, what it does, it makes people now put marriage like at the back of their mind, and they seem like they've forgotten about this marriage, and now they start focusing and they even forget the main reason why they came together. They start thinking about business, about your career life, about maybe someone wants still to go back to school, about other things that comes. So people come when they are unable to balance. There is love, there is our marriage, and there is these other things that are coming that are making us now have frequent, conflicts. We are able now to be understanding each other because of these other things. Also, job loss, it's still something. Business can lapse. We've seen things happening, and a business can collapse just like that. So people come so that first we take you back to where you were before all these things, and now we restart all over again with aim of wanting to identify where the rubber started beating you people. So marriage and counseling helps even when you feel you do not have much, there is no infidelity, no violence and all that, but still you are unable to communicate effectively. So people do not communicate about their feelings. They do not let their loved ones know how they feel because there is an assumption that I'm married to you, so I expect you should be knowing how I'm feeling. I expect at this point, when you come home late or when you do not cook for me, I expect you know how I'm feeling. And now that one brings a lot of misunderstanding. What about when you are able to communicate about your feelings? I do not like it when you come home at this time. You make me, be scared and start wondering where you are and you're not even communicating. Or I don't feel okay when you're not cooking this type of a meal. It builds that energy in the family because now when my partner is not okay with something, they will always communicate. Hence, when they are not communicating about something which is off, they are still okay. You are able to get to know where the other person is to avoid scenarios where someone wakes up, you slept okay, you are all talking, but all of a sudden they're not talking to you. So you start wondering what has happened in between this time. And maybe it's something as small as you never brought me the towel, or you never prepared water for me to go and have shower, But when you communicate, it's now taken differently. Also, this goes to our love language. Some people, they want to have gifts, but they expect the partner to know it's my birthday, hence you're supposed to take me out or to give me this type of a gift. But do you communicate for them to know your expectations? Valentine's, very important days. And someone will just be there waiting for flowers and a cake and a chocolate. If you're in an office setup, you are seeing all these things being given to your colleague. And at the back of your mind, you're just wondering, I'm expecting my man or my lady also to be doing so. But where they are, they think, these are normal things. And so I'm planning to take her or to take him out for dinner. So there is miscommunication. Even when you go for that dinner, someone is already, they do not want to talk to you because they feel this is not what you are looking for. So when you want something, communicate. When you want a gift, be it your birthday, be it, a very, maybe there is an event or something, when you want to celebrate with a gift, let your partner know, I would want to have a gift, and you can even mention, I would want to have a cake, a new shoe, a new car, and just mention and then leave it now to them. At least they know your expectation. Now they will come and tell you, for now I'm not able to buy you a car because financially, we are not okay. I will buy you a cake. Is it something that will be okay with you? Just communicate, enhance that communication, because in most cases, and 99% cause of divorce today, say that. Misunderstanding, miscommunication.
Right.
Because even when people talk about infidelity, violence and all that, when you want to dig into the root cause, you will find it all started from miscommunication.
Right.
They kept on telling me, I'm cheating until I failed. It's time I go and cheat. Though those we term them as excuses in marriage, we also have some people who will come because of other things that come, which it's what we're talking about. When we go for premarital counseling, you're able to be taken through by a therapist to get to know how to navigate other issues that may come along the way, like infertility. You have a kid, like what I said, able differently. Now someone has lost their job, it means they're just there. How do you go about your finances? How do you go about step parenting also? Because, in marriage, we're talking about marriage, we have divorce, separation and all that. If such happens, how do we go about step parenting, co-parenting? Because I'm in a marriage setup, maybe I've lost my loved one, death, we've divorced. Now I'm marrying someone else. We want to come for marriage, at least to learn more about step parenting, and also if the other person is separation, about co-parenting. And now that brings us to the next level of another cause of divorce, and another reason why people come for marriage, that is divorce and separation. Maybe Silas, you can now elaborate further when it comes to another reason why couples they come for marriage counseling, which is divorce and separation. What we take people through, because for some people they think when they come for therapy it's a quick fix. They just come and you tell them it's okay, you can go now and divorce. And also, as Silas takes us through, just to mention, as therapists, it's not our role to tell you to go and break up, divorce, separate. Neither is it our role to tell you to go and make up. We work with you. Solution comes from our clients.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. And maybe before I get to divorce and separation, let me talk on something that you mentioned about communication and all that confusion that brings to conflict. When you mentioned that, my mind came to emotional intelligence. There's nothing as important as emotional intelligence in marriage. It is that intelligence that helps you to understand your partner. And this is one of the things that we also do in premarital counseling, and also for couples who have issues when they come. We also help them to grow emotionally intelligent. An emotionally intelligent partner is able to understand the feelings of the partner. They are also empathetic about their emotional stability. If somebody is going through something, like you also mentioned about traumas, you are able to understand that my partner went through some trauma, and that's why she or he is behaving in a certain way. And so by having that intelligence, you are able now to deal with that issue. That you are not going now to be reactive and to be somebody who is indifferent in a situation that now is affecting your partner. And so emotional intelligence is going to help one now to work well with a partner. And it calls, as you said, also for self-awareness and also the awareness of the partner. If one doesn't have the intelligence of understanding him or herself, he may not be able to understand the partner. And so that's how emotional intelligence it becomes key in marriage. And so on marriage and divorce, I think divorce and separation is one of the worst things that can happen to a marriage, because it is not only affecting now the two people, but also the children and other people now around their lives. And sometimes we handle cases of children who are going through issues. Sometimes we find children, like adults, adolescents, and youths going through things like drugs and crimes. But when we go now to investigate now the origin of all these things, you realize that there was a problem with the parents. And so that's why we take these issues so seriously, things to be separation and divorce. And sometimes we ask yourself now, before we get there, where did we come before we get even to this separation? Because separation is that period when people pass for some time to see if they can resolve their problems. Divorce is when now their issues are irreconcilable, they cannot be able to solve their problems, and now they have to go the legal way. And one of the things that the government has done, it has made divorce a bit complicated, the process a bit complicated. And this means that, they have the family at heart, that people are supposed to live together. But now if they can't be able to, to solve their differences, to manage their conflicts, then that's why now there's the process of divorce. And the reason why at Allsmiles it is a key thing in our curriculum, it is because, as I said, it does not only affect the two people, but also the children. In terms of education, academics, it affects their health, it affects their self-esteem, it affects so many other issues. And so when people don't have self-esteem, when children don't have self-esteem, they end up now being victims of peer pressure. They become impulsive, they cannot be able to control themselves, they don't have the mental stability to handle issues. And when couples are going through through divorce, through separation, there are things to do with their mental stability. We find people are getting into drug abuse, alcoholism, fights, and so many other things, including illnesses. Actually, some illnesses associated with the stress that is involved in divorce and separation. So we try to deal with the issues of separation and divorce, because also if they are not handled well, they can lead to revenge, and sometimes revenge can also lead to death and then to damage of property. You find people who, you hear somebody has poured acid on the partner, somebody has gone and burnt the house, and you thought that they are separated and the thing ended. So we handle all these things to make sure that whatever has to end ends well, and whatever has to be sustained is sustained with some kind of an agreement. Teresa?
Yeah, and also to add on that, thank you for that, Silas, even for bringing to light that whatever has to end ends the right way, and whatever needs to be sustained is sustained in the most effective way. That also brings, when couple come, we still set them back with their family as a shell. Go and tell us what you want to be put here. When now they decide, we feel we're at a point where we want to separate and go, our separate ways. Now we start taking them through the process, just like what you've mentioned, to ensure this separation won't have some aftermath, like someone coming back for revenge, someone coming back to maybe take the kids and run away with them. Because if that's the direction you as a client you want to take, then you can take divorce and separation, but you can still do it in the most effective way, in the most healthy way. And also when some other people come, they come with what they label as divorce and separation. But upon going through therapy, they realize, this was just a misunderstanding. We were not facing divorce and separation, we were actually facing childhood traumas from one partner. So if we are able to deal with this, then we are able to go on. We are facing something that was very toxic in our marriage, and it could be maybe some friends, family members, maybe just your neighbors, or just something. Could be company that one partner is having or keeping, a company that is misleading them, that is now getting to a point you feel you're at the verge of divorce and separation. That's why it's very, very important, especially even when we are not in talking terms. In fact, we can confess that most of couples that we see as married, when it comes to marriage counseling, they come here when they're not talking to each other. Of course, we have those who will come with a common goal. We are coming because of infertility issues. We are coming because we had infidelity before, gave each other, but still trust is not yet there. But I would say like 60% they come when they're not talking to each other. Even our sitting setup, we ensure it's in a way that you sit on your chair and the other one different ways. Because these people, they are coming, not talking, but now they're coming for solution. And we say as therapists, our greatest achievement is when we've taken you through therapy and we see at the end of it all, the solution you've come up with, you as a client, it's something effective and something serving both of you. So still on the same now, when we're talking about divorce and separation, this touches a certain, it can occur anytime. People keep on saying maybe within the first 5 years, within, I don't know, divorce and separation can occur anytime. However, we have one cause that only made divorce and separation possible from the age of 50 to 65 thereabout. And I think it's important because we are talking about marriage and counseling. We talk about midlife crisis. And you can enlighten us more about that.
Midlife. Thank you, Teresa. Midlife crisis is a big issue, and it is real. It affects both male and female, and there are also those who take it a bit lower from 50, 40, 50, 60. There are those that take it down from 30, 40, 50, 60, depending on when people started life. And midlife is when at this a point when maybe somebody has a burden of like school fees, burden for rent, pressure from the working place, pressure from the family, supporting the family, the extended families, things to do with bills, things to do with marriage. This is the time when people have their school age going children, people at school, and there's all those things rotating around schooling and finances. And I also talked about the work pressure, little income and maybe spending so many hours. So many dynamics now resting on the midlife person. And so what does this thing now do to a person? It somehow brings some levels of unsatisfaction. Somebody feels that like life is less satisfying, and sometimes people now seek acquaintances now from outside, and people tend to look now for people that are going to comfort them in such kind of an issue, and so there's general dissatisfaction with life, and people start now they stop being interested in the things that used to excite them. When midlife crisis comes in, you find that some of the things that used to excite you now, you are no longer excited about them. And so if it is not handled well now, sometimes people get into depression, some people get into debt to try to match now, the trend of their peers. And this is a time when now people start comparing now their success and the success of their peers. And so it is somehow now makes them to boil, and you feel that you are insufficient. And sometimes in the bracket that is from around 60, they also have now the challenges of now their met expectations. Maybe by this time I needed to have bought land and maybe settled, and I'm still paying rent. Maybe at this time I shouldn't have maybe a child in high school. There, and so you look at the retirement is beckoning at you, and you feel that now there are something that you should have done like 20 years ago and you've not done, and so it amounts now to crisis, what we call the midlife crisis. And so midlife crisis, if it is not handled well, sometimes it can lead to suicide. You find people abandoning their families. You hear of people even burning their entire family, and it's all about now the pressure of the midlife person, and that's why therapy is key at this moment in time, because you also talked about transitions. Midlife is a transition that is very sensitive, and at Allsmiles we also now deal with preparing now, these people as they climb now through the family cycle ladder. In preparedness, how do I now prepare for the next phase of life? What are the issues that I need to work on, so that now I may have quality lives years ahead of my life. And so Teresa, I think it's a major issue, and and that's why we are taking it very seriously as a therapy organization.
Oh, yes. Midlife, just like Silas has said, it's a very crucial stage of a human being. And Silas, I'm sure even our viewers, we all know of someone who maybe never lasted longer, like 5 years after retirement, you know, because that's how it all starts. Now, as you've explained, it's a new life. How do you transit? You know, you've been going to the office. Now that transition from have been employed for the longest, I'm now coming back, and it's as a result of retirement, which means I can't get another job anywhere, because it's very different from job loss. For job loss, you know, and that's why people who are going through job loss, they come, we take them through loss and grief, because it's still loss and grief. Then after that, they are able to come to bounce back, and they will still be able to apply and get more new jobs. But now for retirement, when you retire, you are retired. The best you can become maybe a consultant, maybe a government appointment, a board member and all that, but not an employee again. So this person has all along lived as an employee. And that's why we say most of the time we have the highest rate of divorce occurring from 0 up to 8 years. And the next one now comes from 30-something years. You know, people who have been in marriage for so long, 30 plus years now, they are breaking up, and people keep on asking, why are they separating at this time? When they've even, you know, given birth, their grandparents, why would they separate? But it's all as a result of midlife crisis. And when you talk about midlife, it comes with a lot of other new things. Even there is the loss of identity. Why? Because you've spent an entire period now being with your significant other and your kids. It's a point where now kids leave home. They are now grown up, they are also parents on their own. Hence now again, you got married, and maybe within the first few years of marriage, you gave birth. So your life, your married life has all been about, you're there working, it's a routine. Working, taking care of these kids, paying for their education. When you're thinking about their fee, the food, where to take them for vacation, your investment as a family, and all of a sudden, now they're not there. Hence, who are you without the kids? You and your significant other. Definitely, you can never go back to where you were many years ago. So it's still dating again, but now it's dating again from a known point. You know, and this is the point where now people start seeing like the other person is more like my brother or my sister. And now there is the loss of identity. Who am I when I'm not educating my kids? Who am I now that all my kids have left the house? And we find that people want to associate with what they think or where they left. And that's why most of the time you were up to 30, 28 years, you know, late 20s, early 30s before marriage. And now the kids have left. You are here, you even have your investments, retired, you're okay with you know. But now you want to continue with life, but you forgot, you want to write off all this life and go back to where you stopped. We have seen cases where a 60-year-old who has never put on a jeans trouser, they now want to go back to where they were during their time at 28, and now they want also to start now putting jeans, I don't know, ragged trousers. Now this is the time someone, a very senior person in the office, they retired, now this is the time they are putting stands, and these are men. For ladies, we've also seen this is the time now they want to go out dancing, clubbing the entire night, and also the introduction of Ben 10. You know, for ladies, this is the time now they feel, at my 50s, I think this man is too old for me because kids are no longer here. I want to go back to where I was before the kids. And now, as a 56-year-old, when you go back to where you are, definitely you are going to be 26, 25, 24, which means you are a lady, you now start moving with someone who is even younger than your son. You know, a man also comes, the sugar daddy stories, sponsor nowadays they are called. Why? You are called sponsor because you have money. But what is disturbing you to go to that 20, 21-year-old who is even way younger than your last born? It's because of midlife crisis.
Yeah.
You want to refine, you want to take a journey of refining yourself, but now in the wrong instances. And that's why we keep on telling people, come for therapy. When you start realizing you're now changing your lifestyle, how you've been clothing, the things you've been watching, you used to go to church, you are even a religious leader and all that. Nowadays you want to listen to the latest secular music. You also want to not only to listen, it's to listen and to dance. Get to ask yourself, is everything okay? Because what happens, people are also, Silas, in denial that you've become of age. And because of that denial, they think age is not about how old you are, it's about your looks. So they also want to change their looks. That's why you find people, and I'm not saying it's bad by them to put on stands, either to put on a short, even if you're 70 years old, but I mean, if this is not something we've been doing all through. Now, so you want to enhance your look. For a lady who has never put on makeup for the last 60 years, now this is the time to want to learn about the new makeups and all that. So when you find yourself having issues to start with how you look, the people you associate yourselves with, the relationship that you are building, and intimacy relationships in that case, when now you find that your partner becomes just like any other person, you feel you want to maybe explore other areas and you are moving out with younger people, get to ask yourself, could this be midlife crisis? We keep on saying midlife crisis is a stage, just like adolescence. It's also a stage that comes and goes. Most cases, psychologists have identified it to be a stage that doesn't last more than 15 years. So now the question comes, if you happen to make a permanent decision during your midlife, out of midlife crisis, this is a decision you live to regret. Some people say that all along you've been monogamous and all that and okay with your family. This is the time you are thinking, my wife is my age mate, we are all 60 years, I can now remarry and get a 22-year-old. But again, you realize 5 years later, because by saying 15 years, it has no definite time. It can be 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, or 13 years. Now again, you realize few years later, you are here and thinking, now I made a decision, already married, there are even kids, but it was not myself. This is the time you are coming out of this midlife crisis, but what do? You have to live with it. So if you are to make any decision, ensure you do not make any permanent decision when you are facing midlife crisis. So I think at that point, we've already explained much more about marriage and family therapy, and this starts way from premarital into marriage and causes of even, breakups and all that. So I don't know, Silas, if you have something to add.
Yeah, maybe to add on what you talked about midlife, the issues is also the biological aspect of the body. The body is somebody is aging, and one is not as strong as it used to be during those past years. And so some of the things, some things that one used to do when now at midlife, one may not be able to do. And I think that brings the issue now of the blue pill that is so popular nowadays, which is killing men. Actually, the rates are going high as we continue. And this is denial, as you said. Like I'm denying that the fact that now I am not as strong as I used to be some years back. And so you want to be relevant. You want to try to catch up with what you lost, what you would have done. You try now to be, trying to be relevant, and you've already passed now that age. And I think it adds more problem to the age, and that's why therapy is key as we continue to say in every stage, because things come. And sometimes people are not even conscious of some of the things they do. Like when you're talking about a 60-year-old now trying to fit into some clothing that is for like the teenagers, somebody is not conscious why I'm doing this. But then now in the eyes of a psychologist, one is able to understand why one is behaving in a certain way. And so being informed is very key in this life, because it's full of transition from one change to another. And the worst thing is for somebody, to ignore, therapy, to ignore counseling, because it helps you to connect with the realities of life, and it makes you now to have a quality life. There are people who live in regret in their old age. They just they live in tears, like maybe I should have done 1, 2, 3. But then when you face a psychologist now, he is able to take you through life, and now you're able to know things that you can be able to do and things that you cannot do. What do you do with the things that you cannot be able to change? If a certain thing has passed and it is not reversible, how do you now handle that thing? And that now comes in, like now trying to help you, change your thinking towards that particular thing. Because once you don't change your mind towards the thing that you cannot be able to change, then it becomes problematic, and it becomes now toxic to you and to the people around you.
Yes, so you've listened to us, you've seen all it entails. We've only touched a bit. I would say this is 0.001%. There is much more about premarital and marriage and family therapy. And so I call upon you out there, if you're in a relationship, this is the time to come for premarital therapy. If you're already in marriage setup, come and enhance. At time, just walk in. You don't have to have a reason to come for therapy, but just walk in. You'll be surprised by how much you'll be able to discover about yourself, your partner, and your institution in marriage. And all this is in the effort of enhancing and ensuring that you have effective marriage. If again you are out there going through issues in your marriage, a bit divorce and separation, or other issues that you can't even put a name on it, first, we are very sorry for what you are going through, and come to us. At times, even one partner may not be willing to come for therapy, but you keep on saying it all starts with you, because awareness, it's about you getting to know something is not right. Hence, you can come, and in most cases, we've seen where one partner comes, even the other one start asking, I realize there is some changes in how you are doing things, and how can I go about, or who are you seeing with this person you are talking to. So come, they will catch up with you, because before you are in a marriage setup, you have an identity, you have a name. So if your partner sees or feels therapy is not, something they want to go about, you can come for therapy even if you're going through a marriage affair or a marriage issues alone. Coming for therapy alone will also work on you, and even if whatever you'll be going through, you'll be able to navigate in a very positive way. Also, as you're talking about that, we have come up with a program. It's more of classes, and we keep on telling people these are more of psychoeducation classes, not therapy, because for therapy we look at the main thing, but for classes here we categorize people and we put people together. We have for marriage and family, we have one for premarital. That is for all people who are not married, but they are already in a relationship. And you can join, by the way, even if you do not have a partner, because you are only coming to learn. It's for premarital, before getting into marriage. You'll also be able to know of red flags, and when you meet a partner, things to look out on, and all that. We also have now for marriage, we've classified this one into two. We have what we call junior marriage. This mostly goes from 0 years all the way to 15 years. We have above that, and that's where we'll be talking of things like midlife-crisis and all that. So all these, they are classified as one program, though people will be put in different classes, where you come, you get to meet with other people, sharing their experience. People form WhatsApp group, other people, they have even chapters where they do some meetups with the help of therapists, because we want to navigate this in the most effective way and psychological effective approach in our application and what we use. So with that, come and join us. It's a 6-week classes, and it goes for 1,000 bob per week, which means it's only 6,000 bob for the entire, we call it pre and marriage program. These are classes for you to be able to navigate the world of marriage, and this goes out there even to divorced people, because we have some people making inquiries and asking, I'm divorced, is it something? Yes, because we say, whether you're going through separation or whatever it is, you need to leave one home and you get to another. You need first to deal with your own issues. So this will help you get to a position where you identify to ensure the causes of divorce to your previous marriage, again, doesn't make you, have another divorce in your next marriage. So we look forward to serving you here at Allsmiles Therapy Center. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. And thank you for always calling and to tell us that we are doing good work out there, whether it's through our YouTube channel or our partners' YouTube channel out there. We appreciate and we always get to see and to read your comments. Thank you so much. So until then, bye-bye.